Welcome to NC's IJmuiden Operations Support Base. At NC, we genuinely care about protecting our people and the environment from harm. That means we expect everyone to play their part by working responsibly, maintaining good safety awareness, and following our site rules and procedures, because doing so is key to a safe working environment. This induction provides you with important emergency, as well as safety, health, environment, and quality, or SHEQ, information. It covers the general site and site access requirements, safe ways of working, emergencies and reporting, and a summary of key information. Please pay close attention. The IJmuiden base provides essential support to NC operations, with maintenance, repair, storage, and logistics activities all found under one roof. As part of your induction, you'll be taken on a tour of the site. The facility's key features include the main building, which contains the offices, training rooms, common areas, and kitchens, the ROV and survey workshops, logistics and the warehouse, and the yard and outside storage area. The car park is adjacent to the main building and yard area, and please take note, this is where the muster point is located. Please remember that the speed limit everywhere on site is 10 km per hour. In addition, always wear your seatbelt, never use your mobile whilst driving, and always remember to reverse park. Truck access is via the south side of the yard, and there is a one-way entrance and exit system. Access can be acquired via the intercom. On site, pedestrians have priority over all moving vehicles. Inside the warehouse there are marked pedestrian walkways which should be followed by those on foot. The site's opening hours are 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. Access to the facility at all other times is only possible with an NC tag. Access to different areas in the office, warehouse, workshops, and yard is controlled via a tag system. No tag is required when using emergency exits for evacuation. Smoking, including e-cigarettes, is prohibited in all offices, warehouse, workshops, and yard areas and is only allowed in the designated smoking areas. The yard area is monitored by a camera surveillance system. Although the system is primarily intended for security purposes, by accessing the site, you accept that recorded footage may also be used for incident investigations when necessary. Any suspicious persons, activities, packages, or situations must be reported to a supervisor immediately, so that appropriate action can be taken. Confidential or sensitive company information should not be left unattended, and personal belongings should be kept secure. NC does not accept responsibility for any unattended items that go missing. Remember to secure windows and rooms after use. If you are provided with a tag, don't leave this unattended. Close down your PC when you are away from your desk. If you have any security concerns on site, speak to your supervisor. All internal and external personnel working in the warehouse, workshop, or yard must hold a valid safety training certificate. The standard requirement is VCA. For short-term contractors, equivalent certificates such as IOSH, Working Safely, GWO Basic Safety Course, or BOSIET, are accepted. Anyone working in the warehouse, workshop, or yard must complete this site safety induction, which is valid for 1 year. If you are entering the warehouse or workshop, you must always wear safety shoes and high-visibility upper body clothing. When entering the yard, a hard hat is also mandatory at all times. Operational PPE requirements are covered later in this video. When on site, you must always follow the instructions of your designated NC contact person. Before entering the warehouse, workshop area or yard, make sure you are aware of any ongoing work activities. The IJmuiden base is a busy operational environment with frequent movements of forklifts, delivery vans, and trucks, as well as the potential for high-risk activities such as crane operations, pressure testing, hot work, and low and high-voltage electrical tasks. For your own safety and that of our personnel, please only enter operational areas when you are authorized and have a clear task or purpose to do so. Limiting unnecessary presence in these areas helps reduce exposure to hazards and supports a safe working environment for everyone. By accessing the site, you accept that NC operates a zero-tolerance policy for alcohol and drugs. Anyone found to be under the influence will be removed from site, and they face disciplinary action. If you are taking prescribed medication that may affect your alertness, reaction time, or judgment, you must inform your supervisor before starting work. The same applies if you are experiencing fatigue, reduced focus, or any condition that may impact your ability to work safely. In such cases, please also notify your site host or supervisor, so appropriate measures can be taken to keep you and others safe. Whether you work here or are visiting us, it's important that you adhere to our safe ways of working and get to know our site safety information. The main risks on our operations support base are collisions with moving vehicles, dropped objects, and slips, trips, and falls. In addition, work-specific hazards you may be exposed to include storage and handling of hazardous substances, lifting operations, workshop machinery, electrical work, hot work, and operating equipment under high pressure. NC has adopted the life-saving rules developed in response to years of learning from actual experiences across our industry. The life-saving rules are designed to keep you alert to hazards and help prevent incidents which could harm you or others. Look out for the posters displayed across the base. While on site, we expect you to follow our life-saving rules at all times and to abide by instructions from supervisors and managers. As also stated in the life-saving rules, only personnel who are competent and hold the relevant training certificates, valid in the Netherlands or accepted by NC as equivalent, are permitted to carry out specific work activities. NC may request proof of this competence at any time. Examples include forklift operation, work on electrical systems, and crane guiding operations. If you are unsure whether your qualifications are sufficient, it is your responsibility to raise this with NC for assessment. The mandatory PPE includes safety shoes, high-visibility clothing, and a helmet on the yard. In addition, personnel working on the MC base are expected to wear task-specific PPE. This may include coveralls or long sleeves for manual work, appropriate safety gloves for any activity with a risk of hand injury, safety glasses when there is a risk of eye injury, hearing protection when working with high-noise machinery. Task-specific PPE, such as fall protection, face shields, or a respirator. Look out for the PPE signage displayed, and if you are ever unsure which PPE is required or need specific equipment, please speak to your supervisor. On the base, work activities are divided into 3 categories, each controlled in different ways. Routine tasks, which are low risk, non-routine tasks, which are medium risk, high-risk tasks, which are more hazardous and require a work permit. Most work on site is routine and carried out under a generic task risk assessment (TRA) or standard operating procedure. For non-routine tasks for which no procedure exists, the supervisor in charge of the work team must carry out a documented task risk assessment and conduct a documented toolbox talk with all involved personnel. Any work performed by an external party is always considered non-routine or high risk. This means that all third-party personnel must be able to demonstrate that they have a valid task risk assessment which is suitable for the activities they will perform, as well as a documented toolbox talk. All measures identified in the assessment must be implemented before work begins. If a task risk assessment is missing, or if there is any doubt about the NC requirements, it is the responsibility of the third party to clarify this with their NC contact. High-risk activities include non-routine lifting operations, working on energized systems that require an isolation plan, working at height, and hot work inside the warehouse or workshops. These activities require a work permit, approved by the base manager or their delegate. Any questions about the required level of control can be addressed to the SHEQ department or the base manager. At NC, toolbox talks are an integral part of our safe ways of working and take place prior to all non-routine and high-risk tasks. We need everyone to take an active role in toolbox talks. It's important you engage, listen, and question things during them, and that you can confirm your understanding of the task, the hazards, and the controls in question. Once work begins, it is important to stay alert to your surroundings and to be aware if anything changes or unexpected conditions occur. If at any time before or during a task, you notice such changes or unexpected conditions, then this is a clear stop the job trigger. By stopping the job, the change you've identified can be assessed for impact, and any appropriate measures can be taken. Each and every one of us is authorized and has the duty to stop any activity or situation that looks strange or unsafe. So, remember, if in doubt, stop the job. We all have the authority and obligation to intervene when we notice an undesirable or unsafe condition, be it social, psychological, or physical. Everyone working for NC also has the responsibility to report any unsafe condition, situation, or incident as soon as it occurs to their designated contact person. Our aim with observing, intervening, and reporting is to learn and make improvements to prevent similar situations in the future. It's never about blame. To round off this part about safe working on the base, there are a few final site rules and expectations that help us keep the base safe, clean, and well organized for everyone. Waste must be segregated correctly, and there are skips and bins for specific types of waste. Any hazardous waste must be correctly labeled, properly secured, and segregated. On stairways, always use the handrail when ascending and descending the stairs. Never use your mobile. You should always observe and obey all safety signage, and never cross barriers or enter controlled areas unless you are authorized to do so. Maintaining a clean and orderly work area is essential for safety. Most preventable incidents, such as trips, dropped objects, and unintended contact with equipment, start with poor housekeeping. Keeping things tidy isn't just good practice, it prevents accidents. When you finish a task, remember to switch off and disconnect all power tools and equipment. Also make sure that any barriers or signage used are either in place or, if no longer required, have been stowed away. IJmuiden OSB is subject to emergency procedures and rules. In the event of a fire or triggered alarm, an alarm will sound. If this happens, you should make your work area safe. Leave the building via the nearest emergency exit. Use the emergency exit gate from the yard. Assemble at the muster point, which is adjacent to the car park. Follow all instructions from the emergency response team, also known as the BHB team, and remain at the muster point until the fire safety lead gives the all clear to return to your work site. If you discover a fire on site, you should raise the alarm immediately and go to the muster point. If you are trained, and it's safe to do so, you may attempt to extinguish the fire. If you discover an injured person, or someone's taken ill, inform the NC Emergency Response or BHV team. If needed, directly call the General Country Emergency number, which is 112. The base has first aiders, first aid kits, eye wash areas, and defibrillators available. If you discover a spill kits are available. Note that all spills must be reported to your supervisor. In the event of an incident that does not trigger an emergency evacuation, you must stop what you were working on. Report the incident to your site host or supervisor as soon as possible. Make sure the area is safe before providing first aid. Secure or preserve the incident site for investigation. And if the incident site cannot be preserved safely, you should take photos from different angles, including close-ups, to support the investigation. In the event of a serious injury, all work must be stopped until the authorities or the NC SHEQ department give clearance to resume. Remember, all incidents and near misses must be reported. If in doubt, report. Please remember, while on site, you're expected to follow our safe working practices and life-saving rules. Stay alert to your surroundings and look out for possible hazards, and take care of each other by intervening and stopping any job you feel may involve unsafe conditions or situations. If you have any questions, please speak to your supervisor. And thank you for your attention.